Good morning, Ramblers. How are you doing? Do you got your coffee? I've already enjoyed a cup with donut. One donut for me. But there is nothing like fall of the year and enjoying a maple iced donut stuffed with apple filling. Oh, did that make my morning coffee just fabulous. I wonder how many of you have tried the pumpkin pie blizzard that the DQ has come out. They have other ones, but this time of year I like a little pumpkin spice. And I had to try that pumpkin pie blizzard. Oh, it's to die for. And I do hope you're enjoying your day and looking for a reason to find joy in your life with these little things, because I don't think we're going to have the big things too much longer. So, on a lower note, let's talk about succession planning. It is a strategy for identifying and developing employees to fill key roles or jobs when they become vacant. A good succession plan has incentives like housing, company cars, health care, and in some cases, free meals, like they'll have a cafeteria and you got your free lunch there. But you know what? It sure does sound an awful lot like a modern day indentured plan to me. Basically enslavement. Because immigrants are receiving these incentives. One, and I've checked this out, okay, they have the option of free housing for 2 years. And with that, they get debit cards with $5,000 on it. They also are getting $1,500 in food stamps a month. And they still qualify even if they're working at the state minimum wage what these corporations want to pay. They don't want to pay more than minimum wage anymore. And so you know, the funding for this, it has been allocated cuts to many of the American programs. And that really bothers me a lot, because for every 10 immigrants, we now have 12 Americans who are homeless. Most are 50 years old or older. And that number is growing. See, it's a shame that the resources we once had for homeless Americans was cut severely to allocate funding for immigrants along with other programs. See, our tax money, which we assume is going to help our country, our American citizens, no longer works that way. And see, I have a big question. What is going to happen to these immigrants when their 2 years are up? See, a lot of them, they're only paying $200 a bed per person in a home. And they'll put up many people up in these homes. They're trying to send as much money back home to their original country to help their families back there. There's long lines at Western Union of them sending money back home. The states with the most immigrants, and they have 20% at least, okay, that's 20% of their population. Those states are California, Texas, Florida, New York, and New Jersey. The least amount of immigrants are in these states: Montana, Vermont, West Virginia, Maine, Wyoming, South Dakota, and North Dakota. But Maine is preparing to take up to 75,000 by the end of next year. So, we'll have to take that off the least amount list. And if you go by the population-wise, they will say West Virginia has the smallest amount at 1.8%. Okay, that's 29,000 immigrants. But see, with Ohio being heavily populated, 1.8% is 575,000 immigrants. And of them immigrants, 89,000 are unauthorized. In our country, the immigration population has grown 4.5 million since Biden went into office. So it's now 49.5 million, or 15% of our population is immigrants. 2.2 million immigrants came to this country this year alone. This is just one of the changes our country is going through. And I just want to keep you aware that these corporations are going to do whatever they can to enslave us to whatever they dish out. It's hard to swallow when you've worked your whole life to get an inch ahead of what maybe your parents had, and know that someone can come in here and be driving a newer used car that you yourself cannot afford to drive. Personally, I run mine to the ground. I actually had an S10 truck that I literally drove the doors off. It's a good truck, great on gas mileage. So now, I'm driving a Jeep when I drive. I may let it go because of the cost of insurance on vehicles now. Because these immigrants don't know how to drive, it is forcing our vehicle insurance up. I don't have any problem with people coming to our country to better their life if they do it like knock on the front door and come in the right way. Because I know there was no one out there helping us women maintain jobs so we can feed our families. It would have been nice to have collected a wage and welfare help. But if you worked back in the day, you didn't get welfare help. I know they have work programs if you are on assistance. But the work programs are not putting you in the jobs of these corporations. They're not doing it. Because they know that you're going to want the average pay scale. You're not going to work for minimum wage. Now in Ohio, our minimum wage has slowly been coming up. I think it's $10.75. But there are people like waitresses still only making maybe $4.75 an hour. South Carolina, the immigrants ain't going to want to go there too much. They'll get out of there as soon as they can, because in South Carolina, they set your wage. They always have. There isn't a minimum wage. It's whatever the employer wants to pay you. I got out of that state so fast because of some of those, just the way of thinking there. I have worked in Alabama, and there wasn't much assistance for Americans there, and you generally had to live with your family, no matter what job you had, unless you worked for a car plant or in the medical field. And the medical field meaning if you were specialized in it. I don't know how much more we're going to have to secure our world up so that we don't lose what we've already worked for and paid for through these years. If you can think of ways to save on your utilities, save on your grocery bill, it'll help some. Like I said, I'm considering letting my Nitro go, my Nitro Jeep, because of the price of vehicle insurance. My property taxes did go up, and that's not a good thing. But I thank God I'm not in a no-tax state, because what they're signing in for them states has put them at 20% population of immigration. So, or it's going that way, because the state needs that money to run their state, and they're getting paid to take the immigrants. And if your citizens are not paying, well, if the state you're in is a tax-free state, they're going to get you another way. So, as they get their money from the government, from our taxes that we hoped would be used for our American citizens, it's an eye-opener. It's an eye-opener, and I'm watching my country collapse under it. I want to know what's going to happen in 2 years. This don't add up. It's like they made a plan, and they don't have an exit plan. Could be dangerous. Don't know. Speculating here. But think on that today, because it might be something we need to prepare for. All right. You have a great day. I'm praying for you. Love you. Bye.